sleeping on me, think it's time to wake 'em up. They been sleeping on me, think it's time to wake 'em up. You've been playing it safe, now it's time to shake it up. Playing it safe, now it's time to shake it up. So it's time to make a change. Yeah, it's time to break the chains. Yeah, it's time to bring the pain. Let them know, tell them we are not the same. I'm the one that got the flames. With my team, as you know, we come to slay. Let them know that we didn't come to play. Nah, we came to win. I'm ready for anything that they can bring. Bring it on, let me do my thing. I'm a giant, they can't move the king. If you never risk it, then you never know. If it's holding you back, you gotta let it go. You gotta give it all you gotta let them know. You are on another level, you are ruthless.
Welcome everyone to race number 7 of the season. We're here at the very early morning hours here at the Hungaroring, at the one and the only GP circuit for the Advanced Mazda MX-5 Cup Series presented by Heusinkveld here on the iRacing service. The top split, 2 splits this week, or 2 splits of 16 drivers will be taking to this, both for 30 minutes. And here is the schedule coming into this week. Only 2 drivers have won so far this season. Can Michael Folds get a 4th win on Nicholas Shepard's 4th win, or will it be a 3rd winner on the season? That remains to be seen. Here are the point standings coming into this event, the broadcast split standings, if you will. And we'll be seeing set point standings as well throughout the entire race, keeping you updated on which drivers will be placing where throughout the event. As Nicholas Shepard leads over Michael Folds, this goes after the MX-5 points format. These are not the official iRacing points, but regardless, these are the points as things stand coming into this race. Let's go ahead and jump right into going over the starting grid, where Michael Folds is on pole position, and Nicholas Shepard is nowhere to be seen, even in the top 6. As James Newell starts alongside, Olivier Heinricho starts 3rd, Matt Mullins 4th, 5th place is Michael Coates, 6th place is Charles Wolfe. Again, no Nicholas Shepard, shockingly, throughout the first portion of this, not a replay, as we're still live. That is an old transition that has yet to be removed. Apologies for that. But regardless, the top six still as they are. As we move on to the 7th place position, Atsushi Osafune starting off in 7th. 8th place is Aaron Reynolds. 9th place, Matthew Bartlett. And 10th place is John James Wilson. Osafune and Wilson new to the top split for this week. As we have the grid up on your screen, 12th place, 10th place being around that, or 11th place, sorry, I should say, is Tom Sanders. 12th place is Gregorio Moreno Jr. Nicholas Shepard did not set a qualifying time, shockingly enough, as Istvan Serapez starts off in 14th, 15th place, Clinton McDonald, in 16th place, Matthew White. One of these drivers in the bottom portion of the grid is not like the other, and one of them is the defending series champion. Fun fact as well is that Nicholas Shepard has earned, at least as of last season, the season that we started broadcasting this series, it was the first season for Nicholas Shepard to be victorious in terms of the championship for the Advanced Mazda MX-5 Cup Series, and every season beforehand he got 3rd in the season, first season, 2nd place in season 2, and then last season it was 1st place. So we'll see if he can go back to back, and we'll see if he can go from the back to the front, because the revs are about to rise. And we are green flag racing here at the Hungaroring. And already a great start for Michael Folds as they'll make their way down here into turn number 1. It's going to be a little bit of a tight corner here, and they'll have to be careful as they file their way down. And does everyone make it is the question. We're 4 wide in the back. And it looks like a little bit of hip and shoulder in the background. That may have been Nicholas Shepard getting his way by Estevan. But in the meantime, Michael Folds continues to lead. He holds off James Newell for now. But for how long will he be able to do so is the main question, if he is able to do so. It's, again, very early morning hours, so don't adjust your pictures. It is just this early. In sim time, 7 a.m. here at the virtual Hungaroring. And there is no sunlight to be found as James Newell, spin in the back. That is Tom Sanders off in the background, who just makes his way through, and that is Istvan around, and Matthew Bartlett is around as well. 3 cars off and all about the same section. We'll pick this up a little bit later on as they're going to make it through the chicane. They do. And while we do have a chance, we'll go ahead and look back to see what exactly had happened here in this section of the racetrack. Tom Sanders was the first car that went around, and then you'll see Istvan. Oh, man. Well, Tom Sanders was the first one to go around, so let's see what happened to him leading into this section of the track. Oh, he just caught way over. And then Istvan went off the track and just throttled through the number 7, as well as collecting, I think that was Clinton McDonald as well. The 15 of Matthew White had also spun off as well. My goodness. Of course, a very chaotic start to this race. Not as chaotic as Alton Park, but then again, we're only 1 lap in, so we'll see how things fare over the next 27.5 minutes. Here comes James Newell down to the inside. At least he made a look to the inside, decides against it. Heinricho almost thought about it. Could tell by the body language of the car that he is definitely eager to get going. Shepard all the way already up to 9th. Let's go ahead and bring in the live point standings as things currently stand right now. Of course, we have the main sort by the positions in the standings, and then the number in the parentheses is the position that the driver is running on track. So already running away with the lead right now is Michael Folds. Shepard not too far behind, with Charles Wolfe comfortably in the 3rd place in points with where he currently sits. Matthew Bartlett comfortably in 4th with where he sits, as well as Atsushi Yosefun and John Wilson are battling side by side, and getting hip and shouldered off the track is Osefun. That is from Nicholas Shepard as well. He is taking no chances right now. Here comes Michael Coates to get by Osefun. Shepard is on a tear. That's putting it lightly, as we'll see one more time. Run this back. And from a different angle, we'll see. So here's Shepard. And, actually, no, it's Osefun. I stand corrected. It was Osefun that kind of twitched into Nicholas Shepard there. Maybe trying to recorrect himself for the corner ahead. Maybe had a little bit of a twitch in the steering wheel as well. Could have had a, not exactly a hardware failure, but definitely something may have pulled the wheel a little bit from Osefun. In the meantime, back for the lead, though. Here comes James Newell. He's lurking in the background. Does he go for a move into turn number 1? He always looks into turn 1, but just no commitment fully from James Newell. But ever since we've seen Newell, ever since the week 6, ever since Donington, Newell has been a force to reckon with here in the MX-5 events, MX-5 Cup Series. So he is definitely no slouch to the podium spots so far. In fact, if I look back here at the finishing results that we've had so far, it'll take me a little bit, but I think Newell has finished 3rd place for top 3 pretty much every single time so far this season. As we continue looking back from Michael Folds, I did say, will we get a 4th win from Michael Folds to tie Shepard? It is possible. It is very, very possible. For James Newell, he, I believe, double-checking real quick just to make sure, but I think Newell, only started in the second half of the season, at least starting at race number 6. But the last few finishes for Newell have been second and third. In this race, he's looking to repeat that podium spot as we continue just looking back for Michael Folds. Almost bouncing off the revel mirror. And we see in the background here, Olivier Heinricho and Matt Mullins in a little bit of a land of their own for the third place spot. And it is very, very possible that these two could start battling as well, but don't count out Nicholas Shepard as well. Even though he did not set a qualifying time, he started 13th. And he's going for the pretty much the last to first award as best as possible. Right now, Shepard currently sits 8th, chasing down John James Wilson. New to the top split this week. Does Newell decide to go for the move yet? No, he holds off. Just exercising that patience here as the sun starts to rise around Hungary. I say exercising patience. He's looking, though. The body language of the car says otherwise. He looks to be very eager to try and get around Folds, but someone who did way too many races in the MX-5 recently, it is a lot easier to just sit behind somebody and follow them if they're a little bit faster than you, rather than try and make a move, especially to try and create a little bit of a gap here. As we start to see the sun peek out behind a little bit more, no doubt by the end of the race we'll actually have some light here on the racetrack. It's already starting to peek through with 23 minutes, or just under 23 minutes to go. Right now, in fact, referencing the finishing results that we've had so far this season, this is the smallest top split by one position that we've had so far this season. The largest was 24, and that was just last week. The average is about 21, so I'd say about 19 spots, 21 spots is at least the average, but the second lowest splitting that we've had is 17 cars, and that was, correction, 2 weeks ago. That was at Darlington. Last week we had 24 cars, so this week we're at 16, 2 splits of 16 drivers. The second split is also 16 drivers as well. They're running at the same time as this split is. I think Heinricho is a little bit wide coming to the final corner. In fact, he's very wide on the exit of the corner in comparison to Matt Mullins. Mullins is about to capitalize on this, I believe. He's definitely sitting on the back bumper like he's going to. And in fact, he's doing the same decision to just sit behind and just wait it out as we make our way down into turn 1 once again. Mullins with a festive paint scheme this week as well. Doesn't show up too well on the graphic, but better on screen than the graphic. Mullins has very graciously, I think for most of those around box 5, have pretty much the entire grid, hypothetically, has made these little festive paint schemes as we move closer and closer into the holiday season. And oh, by the way, don't forget the last race of the season is on, well, I should say the first of the last week of the iRacing service. Oh my goodness. I'll get to the point eventually. It's a weird way of going about it, but let's see if I can try this again. The first race of the last week of the last iRacing season of 2025 specifically for this year is on December 1st. I think we got there in the end. It's a little bit of a tongue twister if you think about it. Let's take a look back at Aaron Reynolds, who is no stranger to this series. He's been racing with Justin Reynolds as well. Reynolds a little bit more often than not. Well, I should say Justin Reynolds appearing more often than not compared to Aaron. Aaron and Justin first started racing in this specific split, the top split, I should say, more accurately, around Sonoma. And then new to the top split this series is John James Wilson. He's the highest of the runners that are new to this week so far. And over the entire course of the season, we have had a unique 61 drivers have at least one start throughout this entire season. And man, oh man, the points are scattered. You have no idea. Right now, the official score points goes down to 49th. Which I don't know where that 61 comes from them in that case, but maybe I miscounted. Should be 61 drivers, but probably a few that have DNF'd in some sense. I think even drivers that did DNF should still be scored, but regardless, only 26 drivers in this split at the very most is allowed. And John's looking to have break the track record of a little bit of bad luck that seems to be going around recently for new drivers that start to appear in this series in top split. Trying to break the proverbial curse in a sense, and he's doing a pretty good job by sticking with Charles Wolfe here in 5th, Aaron Reynolds in 6th. As these 4, with Nicholas Shepard directly on his back bumper, by the way, no pressure, is about to absolutely chase him down. The last lap for Nicholas Shepard was only about 2 tenths off of his fastest lap. As we ride on board, take a look at his current running speed, just peaking at about 102 miles an hour. We'll stick on board here. As Bartlett and Sanders swap positions off in the background for P13. Sanders had spun earlier on, same with Bartlett getting involved in a bit of a collision as well, but everybody is running. I don't believe so far this season that we have had all drivers that started finish a race. I believe we've had at least one DNF per race so far this season. Going defensive is Aaron Reynolds. That's going to open the gap for Nicholas Shepard because James, I think, tried to go to the outside, but that opened the door for Nicholas Shepard to get through. So move Shepard up to P7 now, and we'll go ahead and look at the current point standings as things currently are, where Shepard starts to close that gap just a little bit to Michael Folds. Very comfortably ahead of Charles Wolfe and Matthew Bartlett. Shout out to Matthew Bartlett for getting 4th in the standings as things currently sit. In fact, we'll go ahead and drop this back down to about P5 in the standings and see where we're at here with some of these drivers as we continue to watch Shepard make his way through. But Matt Mullins, I think Mullins, actually, if we do a quick update for this position, there we go. Mullins and Bartlett are starting to be in a little bit of a battle here for points between, for 4th place in the championship standings here, 1790 for Matthew Bartlett, but Mullins, 1740 right now. He currently sits in 4th, so he could get reasonably close here to Matthew Bartlett. In fact, here's Matthew Bartlett just sitting directly behind Olivier Heinricho. And as Henrico continues to stay ahead of Mullins, Aaron Reynolds is about to try and make his way by Charles Wolfe, but I was about to say that won't be the case, but around the outside, it's going to be both Aaron Reynolds, maybe even Nicholas Shepard. Charles Wolfe is about to be on the unpreferred line here on the outside lane, so Wolfe will get shuffled to the back of this group just like that, as we see this on screen. And Shepard still isn't ahead of this group just yet, but now he'll poke the nose out. I'll go ahead and update the positions here to follow along the points update as Shepard makes his way up to 5th place. They are 3 wide behind Shepard, who has to go ultra defensive here. Who's going to survive? Everybody does. Luckily, Charles Wolfe, just like that, is actually fighting back with Nicholas Shepard, and Wolfe could use these points, that's for sure, to try and at least retain 3rd, maybe have a shot at getting 2nd in the standings. Also getting a shot at 4th place on the track as well, but Shepard does make his way through. Wolfe follows in behind, and then it's John Wilson, Aaron Reynolds, 7th and 8th, just behind these 2 drivers. Well, just like that, that battle has seemed to resolve itself for now. Let's go back and make a point, no pun intended, between Matthew Bartlett and Matt Mullins. Let's go with Matthew Bartlett here. He was involved in the turn 1 crash, but seems to have been recovering so far so good for Matthew Bartlett. He currently runs in the 13th place position. Anyone's wondering, out of curiosity, the amount of points that Matthew Bartlett is earning currently is 180. It's effectively 10 points per position. So for first place, it's 350 points. Second place, it's 320 points. Third place, it's 300 points. Fourth place is 280 points. And then from fifth place on back, it's 260 points. And then minus 10 points for every position on back. So it's 260 for fifth place, then 250, 240, 230, etc., etc. In case anyone wants to do that math at home. So Mullins is going to have to gain quite a few positions here to... Bartlett's going to have to... Well, no, it wasn't the first time. Mullins is going to have to gain a couple positions here. At the moment, he's earning 280 points. If we go up to Mr. Mullins himself here, as we see the battle off in the background just looming. We're going to switch to this real quick as Wilson gets by Wolf here into turn number 1. Moves himself up to 6th place. As for Mullins, again, he's currently earning 280 points. So if he moves up one more position, he will earn an extra 20 points. It'll be 300 total. But 20 extra points, it will get him at 1760 as opposed to 1740. So there's a chance that Bartlett and Mullins could be battling for their respective spots here in the near future in terms of the point standings. Meanwhile, out front, it is Michael Folds, who continues to lead with 12.5 minutes remaining. He's got James Newell right on his back bumper. Newell currently sits in terms of point standings. Let's see if we can find him in this long list that I have. He currently sits, if I'm reading this correctly, 14th place with 900 points currently, and that is where Newell sits. Well, he's coming into this race more specifically. Gregorio Moreno Jr., Matthew Bartlett swapping positions. Well, I did say every point can matter in a sense, and for Matthew Bartlett, that is going to put him at 1,800 points, 60 points up ahead of Matt Mullins. So Mullins going to have to start at least trying to, maybe at some point in the latter half of the race, start to think about that, depending on how the race fares for him. But Bartlett securing himself at 1,800 points for the time being. As for Mr. James Newell himself, he should roughly be sitting, I would think, around 9th or 10th in the standings. If we pull this up here in real time, bear with us. There we go. So James Newell, the only driver running this week out of 9th through 12th, specifically in the standings, currently sits at 1,220 points, more accurately, or just 1,220. Just 10 points ahead of Tony Wallace. Gino Polici, Kyle Genske, and Tony Wallace are not here this week. And in terms of us, we don't take drop weeks into account. We could, and it's a possibility, but at least for the broadcast championship, if you're not here, you're not here. So this will lead to a lot of shuffling going on in the point standings, especially around positions such as 5th in the standings, where we have drivers like Mullins, Moreno, Henrico, and Coates, who are all running, except for Moreno, in the top 10, but still kind of hovering around 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th in the current point standings. It's a whole lot to think about as the time continues to run down on this race. In terms of things to think about, Nicholas Shepard, his previous lap was 0.4 of a second faster than Matt Mullins, and by extension, Olivier Henrico, who currently sits in 3rd. So that battle for the lead in the championship is still on. The current gap is about, I believe, 50 points between Foles and Shepard in favor of Shepard. That's 2,020 points for Shepard coming to this race. 1970 for Michael Folds. So the thing that Folds needs is just a win, and preferably for Shepard to just currently sit where he's at, because if Shepard does gain another position, then he's going to gain 20 points as opposed to 10. He would be at 280 points earned in this race as opposed to the 260 that he currently has. Time continues to wind down here with 9 minutes remaining. We're going to go ahead and wait at least for a little bit before we go ahead and jump on board to ride a lap around the Hungaroring. We can see the visualization here: first and second, third and fourth, and then fifth through eighth. Then everyone else a little bit behind. Coates and Atsushi Osifun kind of in the battle. Osifun closing in on Coates. In fact, last time by, it's only a 1/10 of a second advantage in terms of lap time for Osifun, so both of them running relatively similar. Matthew Bartlett, Clinton McDonald running alongside each other as well. Again, stagnated times between those two as well, near equal, with a, actually I'm reading that wrong, it's a 1 second disadvantage for Clinton McDowell last time around, but looks to be starting to close the gap up to the back bumper of Matthew Bartlett. So we'll see how things fare in the coming laps here, in the last 8 minutes of this race. And that gap has stagnated just about between Mullins and Shepard. Only now it comes down by about 2/10 of a second, but right now back up to 3 seconds. Let's go ahead and ride on board with Aaron Reynolds for a lap around the Hungaroring. That is a lap around the Hungaroring, and that is Tom Sanders with heavy damage. He's pulling it off to the side, toes back to pit road, and we just caught the tail end of it. What has happened to Tom Sanders? through the high-speed right-hander, hits the curbs. Oh, man, I could tell. Oh, that's just pretty much immediately done. I'm surprised he tried to give it another shot and get back going, but yeah, it's definitely the curbing that got him there. If we look from this angle in slow motion just a little bit, it's right about there where the car starts to become unsettled. And then from this angle, if you look at the nose of the car, it's up, and there it goes down. And that's him getting hard on the brakes. But these cars have ABS as well, so those front tires aren't going to lock up. And as a result, well, you see the brake lights are on, but that does not stop the car from heading head-on into the inside wall. I knew I shouldn't have said anything beforehand, and then I did. So we are, I think, still continuing the streak of at least one car not finishing through this race, and genuinely unfortunate for Tom Sanders. As we come already into the last 3.5 minutes, you blink and the race just completely goes by. And speaking of things going by, the gap between Nicholas Shepard and Matt Mullins has closed down just ever so slightly. By ever so slightly, I mean 1.5 seconds. Shepard has put on the afterburners. Last time by, Matt Mullins, in fact, just now, at the start-finish line, is a 0.7 of a second advantage in favor of Nicholas Shepard. It does a 2 minutes and 3.071 seconds versus Matt Mullins doing 2 minutes and 3.732 seconds. So the gap is closing, and Shepard is starting that charge once again. Can he get to the podium position in time? I see the Pirelli flags as well in the background there. They are waving like crazy. It is a little bit windy, if you ask me. In fact, if we go to if we go to see what the wind direction is, apologies, I have to take out the timing tower for a moment just to read the wind, but right now, it's only about 10 miles an hour to the west is where that wind is blowing. That's going to stay consistent throughout the rest of the race as well. It's been consistent since the start of the race as well. Unfortunately, someone who is no longer going to be consistent is Michael Coates, because he is off the racetrack. He went wide, comes back onto the racetrack, and just flies off at full speed. Goodness gracious. Well, I'm not sure what happened, but Otto Shiosefun does get a free position out of it. Now we have 1.5 minutes. And something that's completely slipped by me is we're heading into the final lap here. This time by the start-finish line, it will be the final lap officially. Because by the time we cross the line again, well, it will be the checkered. So Michael Folds is in line to say, whatever you can do, I can do better. In terms of Nicholas Shepard getting 4 wins on the season, Folds also looking to get 4 wins on the season. James Newell looking to spoil that potential. As for Nicholas Shepard, he has caught right up to the back of Matt Mullins here, actually. I didn't think he would catch up, but he has, again, put on the afterburners. He was a full second faster than Matt Mullins and Olivier Heinricho last lap. James Newell, Michael Folds, however, are battling for the lead. Newell has gotten by Michael Folds. Are we looking at a 3rd winner of the season? In Newell's 3rd start of this season, after starting in race 6 at Donington, race 7 in Alton Park, he got 2 podiums. Michael Folds is not looking to let that go, though. He puts the nose to the bumper. Coates with a good view as these two battle. Nicholas Shepard has made his way up to 4th place. We're going to stick with the battle for the lead, though, as this continues on. Folds, once again, looking to get a 4th win on the season. And with this position, it would be a 10-point advantage to Nicholas Shepard as opposed to 50 points coming into this race. So Folds has just a couple corners left to try and make something happen. He'll be right on the back bumper of James Newell. He goes defensive. Middle of the racetrack. Does Folds push it? He does. He goes to the inside. Folds back to the lead. Crossover from James Newell, though. His nose is not there alongside. He'll try around the outside. Switch back to the inside. Is he going to try and go for the inside lane? They both use the access road. Newell back to the racing line, back to the outside. Folds on the racing line. They fall in line, single file out of the final corner, and it's a dash to the start-finish line, and they'll try and go side by side at the last second, but at the line, it's going to be Michael Folds with the win. James Newell relegated to another second-place finish. His second one on the season, though, and a third podium in a row. And Olivier Henrico, shout out to him, gets third place after starting in third as well. So the top three, they all started in third, and they all finished third. A few drivers still finishing up as well. And it was a last-moment battle between McDonald and Moreno. So those two are only 2.5 tenths off of each other. Wow. Newell had a shot. He was there. He showed his hand, and he showed here that, don't worry, I am very much able to make a challenge for the lead. And he was so close to spoiling it, but still, just at the very end, in the last couple corners, Folds comes across with the race win by only, in fact, just over a tenth of a second, but barely, just barely over a tenth of a second. So let's go ahead and look at the finishing order for this race already up on your screen, as James Newell is Michael Folds is your race winner for the fourth time on this season. James Newell finishing in second for a second finish in P2 of the season. And then Olivier Henrico with a third place finish on this season. Nicholas Shepard charged up the field from putting in no qualifying time, starting in 13th. And he manages to close the deficit, close the gap between himself and Michael Folds, especially physically on the racetrack, where Shepard charged up the field, got by Matt Mullins especially, who finishes in 5th. John James Wilson gets a very respectable 6th place finish here. Very quiet day for, I would say, a lot of people, since it was all pretty spread out, but nothing bad necessarily. Atsushi Osifun, actually, let's jump back here. John James Wilson, 6th place. Charles Wolfe, 7th place. 8th place is going to be Aaron Reynolds. And then Atsushi Osifun finishes in 9th. I know I've seen that name somewhere. I think it was more than just the MX-5 series, but familiar name nonetheless. Good to see. Gets himself a top 10 finish, with Matthew Bartlett rounding out said top 10 finish in P10. Then I move on to 11th place with Clinton McDonald, finishing in the 11th place position. Gregorio Moreno Jr., I would argue, in a little bit of an off day for Moreno, so he finishes in P12. And then Istvan Serapes finishes in 13th place, appropriately enough, from Hungary. Very good home race, I would say. I'd argue that a finish is better than not finishing at all things considered. And then the two drivers that have DNF'd this race, both Michael Coates and Tom Sanders, both drivers, interestingly enough, with two front-end collisions, in some sense, rounding out the 16-car field here for this race. We'll go ahead and get the championship standings updated here just in a couple seconds here, having to readjust everything, make sure actually everything is taken into account, which at the moment doesn't seem to be the case. So we'll see if we can get the get this updated in the meantime. Still a fantastic race nonetheless, as we move on into the next race of the season. And let's see if we can get the championship standings updated here for you and put that up on your screen, because even on this end, it is not being applied for some reason, and it definitely should be, that's for sure. I see the exact issue as to why that's not applying. There we go. All right, so now we should be able to give you the championship standings here, as we just have to do through a couple updates. Apologies. But it shouldn't take too long. Just a couple more button presses, and you know what? Just for fun, let's go ahead and do this as well. So here's the championship standings coming into tonight's event. Nicholas Shepard, Michael Folds, Charles Wolf, Matthew Bartlett, Matt Mullins, Moreno, Puilsi, Genski, Coates, and Wallace, your top 10. And with a simple refresh, here is how things shake out after this race. 20 points now in favor of Michael Folds going into race number 9 of the season. Charles Wolf comfortably, I would say, in the land of his own. A driver that's notably dropped out in a shock fashion, dropped down in a shock fashion, is Ishmael Ublal, who didn't even show up this week, now that I realize that. After Alton Park, he had spun and had I believe, a hardware failure last week at Alton Park, and then this week he chooses to not show up. So, no points for Ublal this week. He would be about 1,300 points, all things considered, but not this week. So, top 10 for the points: Folds, Shepard, Wolf, Bartlett, Mullins, Moreno, Henrico, Coates, Puilsi, and Genski. And look at that for about 10th place. We have Genski, Newell, and Wallace all separated by a collective 40 points between just those 3 drivers. So that can still shuffle around. Moreno and Henrico could still shuffle around just a little bit. If some of these drivers have a good day, they could gain a couple extra spots as well. So it's all a matter of just how things fare and who decides to show up on certain weeks. But this is the standings that we've got. And now we move on into the next race of the season. And then, of course, real quick, coming into this event, it was Long Beach, Rudskogen, Sonoma, Road Atlanta, Hermanos Rodriguez Circuit, Donington Park, Alton Park, Hungaroring this week, Indianapolis next week, Tsukuba, the 2000 Moto Circuit layout, specifically the 2025 Charlotte Roval, and then Sebring, as we enter the last 4 weeks of the season. Starting off with the legendary, the one, the only Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This race is going to be fantastic to watch here. And now that we had daylight savings switch over, whatever time that we came live today will be the time that we're live for the rest of the season. So Eastern Standard Time, it should be, fingers crossed I'm getting the conversion correct, it should be now 7:25 p.m. Eastern is when this will be live, but the split officially goes at 7:15. So if you think you want to be, if you want a shot at the top split, to try and make it into not only the broadcast, but challenge some of these drivers, maybe be the fabled third winner of the season, 7:15 Eastern Standard Time, every single Monday from now until the end of the season. Shoot your shot, see if you have a chance. Maybe we'll see you in Indianapolis next week.